Acting Class Weekly with legendary character actor Sean Whalen. Lessons, tips, and insight into the craft and business of acting from a man who's been directed by the likes of Tim Burton, Ang Lee, Michael Bay, Wes Craven, Tom Hanks, and many more of Hollywood's A-list. He is 30 years an actor and your professor, Sean Whalen.
Hello, everybody. Hello. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's my birthday. I'm very proud of the way I look for my age and how I've aged. I'm turning 88.
Wow, it's a big one. 88.
Yeah, it's a big one. Well, it's fun to have the double digits, right?
Right.
88.
Mm-hmm. So, they call that something.
It's a
lie, I think. That's what
lie.
if I had to, I'm pretty sure 88, a lie. Yeah.
Okay. But it's a good day. That's why I had to go all blue, emphasize my blue eyes. You know, I'm going to dive in because when you start to fall apart physically in other ways, you just grab on what you have. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. As always, with me to celebrate today and this show is Miss Phenomenal, Roxy Striar.
Happy birthday to my Sean. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. This is my sign. This is my Sean. This is my hug to you. Can you feel it?
Thank you. Virtual hug.
Well, the people who are listening to this on podcast are confused on what I just did. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Mr. Funtabulous, Jeff Graham. So lucky. We're not sure if we were going to have you.
Well, you know, this is a highlight of my week. And Sean, I got you something as well. It's this coffee cup. Happy birthday.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
I planned it and I didn't just grab it out of the side of my frame as a gift to you.
So wait, Jeff, can you just go over some of the images on the coffee cup and why specifically?
So this is a photo of Sean. This is Sean and I eating.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, this is the cake for your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, and, yeah, that makes sense.
There's Rox.
Oh, wow. With the purple hat? That's great.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
I can see it now. Yeah.
I remember that day at that cafe. It was
You know what? Actually, though, we did have a great writers meeting about something Sean wrote at a cafe. And I have a great memory of that. And that's what this is. Happy birthday.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today, listen, we are not celebrating together because we are in the midst of quarantine. I know these are evergreen shows, but this is a time that works for when you don't have a lot going on and you're not getting out or during quarantine. And it's really about what you can be doing proactively when you can't do class. We had something kind of similar to this about what you can do when you don't have classes around you, but this is a little different, a little more specific with, you know, when you are definitely hindered 100%, what can you be doing? Being proactive. A friend of my girlfriend's dad said, you know, this is a time where you either adapt or die. And that's a little harsh way of putting it, but what can you do to pivot to really maximize this time? You know, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond. So this is, you know, I want to be an actor. You know, you don't want to just shut down any progress. It's like, you know, now you might have to work out from home, and now you might have to use, you know, buy some weights or a resistance band or something, do stuff from home instead of going to the gym. It's the same kind of thing. We're giving you tips to exercise your acting muscles while at home. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing that. And then if time permits, we're going to be hitting stories from the set that I've never talked about in my time on soap operas.
Wow. I saw that you did that TikTok this week of the soaps that you had been on. I thought that was pretty freaking hysterical.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a way to do it. And there's a tag at the end of this button where it says, you say, you know, I don't belong here type of thing. And it made me feel like, what am I doing here? But, you know,
it was funny.
It was a blast. So,
Sean, it's interesting as you talk about actors surviving, and I know we're going to be getting into it some, but one really interesting point, Roxy, you can probably relate to this. And I've got a friend who was saying, if you're an LA based actor and you can ride this out, a lot of your competition and group may bail. You know, all of a sudden, all like the people you were auditioning against, those rooms might feel smaller and smaller when the industry opens back up.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's a good,
if you can tread water, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Before we do that, we're going to get into my week. And I think, obviously my birthday will be a festive Sean's week, obviously, because the week is quite festive for me. So whatever that means to you.
Okay.
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Sean's week.
I love, it's always fun.
It was so good.
So good. Super festive. We're sticking with our day jobs. This week, very exciting. All our episodes, 99% of our episodes, locked down for this the web show that my sketch class is creating. Roxy, again, is part of that and loving it, and they're loving her. How are you feeling about the way it's going, Rox?
I'm really excited for what we're doing on Thursday. And I think that that's going to be, can I share what we're doing, Sean? We're doing a full table read of what we're doing. So there's a lot of different moving parts of what we're doing, and we're putting it all together into one big table read. And I think that it's going to make such a cohesive, awesome product. And we're also getting notes on that.
Yes.
So I don't know if I can share too much.
Yeah, from our old friend and a friend of the show, Doug Van Beber, who is a great co-writer of mine as well as writer in general, and he's been on our show when we did that Write That Sketch Within the Hour. That was so fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He will, give some, because we haven't really had fresh ears, and when you're in a group and you're kind of insulated, it's nice to get some fresh eyes and ears on it. So
definitely agreed. Yeah, very excited about it.
And I just kind of pushed my comfort zone, and I definitely want to have him on the show. I've spoken about him before. My friend Harley Wallen in Michigan is doing an independent television show, and he offered me a couple of days work in July. So I will be getting on a plane and shooting something in Michigan.
Wow.
In July, first time he's being very conscientious. He studies virology and things like that a lot. So it was interesting, though, these new times. He said, read the scene. It's really great. I talked to my friend who's kind of a virology person, and she said, listen, your makeup needs to be yours and yours only. I can't use anybody's makeup because you're putting stuffing near your eyes and your mouth. You can't have anybody else's makeup.
Sean, rewinding for a second, what is an independent TV show?
It's a good question. Gary and him are actually talking today. Gary, my manager from last week, they're closing kind of the deal. And
he's still your manager. He just was on the show last week.
Yes, he was on the show, but he's saying he's finalizing the deal. And I said to him, I didn't really know how. I think he's either shooting the whole series and then trying to sell it, or he's got a platform already, which I'm not really sure about. That's one of the questions Gary will ask. But I'm in a flashback scene, and what was really interesting was I read the scene, and you're reading things differently. Am I near somebody? Am I this? Am I that? And then the last couple minutes of the scene, I'm wrestling on the ground with somebody with a gun, like on top of each other, yelling in each other's face. And, I had to call him up and say, I need to talk about that. That's close.
And what did he say?
Totally understood. Said, I just need that tension, but I have to be creative, because he's looking at his script that he wrote, and he's got love scenes, people intimate, kissing, and he has to figure out how to make that work. So he said, don't worry, I'm going to rewrite that, and I'm going to make it safe for you.
And what about are most of the people flying in? And once you fly in, is there any cushion?
Most are local. So, but I talked to my germ friend she gave me all the tips, what to do for the hotel and the flight and things like that. And, I'm obviously, if there's a surge or anything that shuts down, it shuts down. But I said so to my girlfriend and said, man, Sheena, I said, I'm a little nervous about going. She goes, that's why you got to do it. So I was right. I think I got to push that and see, figure it out for myself. And because I know Harley really well, he will not be shook if I turn to him and go, this does not make me comfortable. You know what I mean? We know each other well enough and he respects me well enough that goes, this thing is making me uncomfortable. This is this, but it's in July, so it's a couple more months. So hopefully we'll have more knowledge and tools by then. So I'm going to go for it and give it a shot.
Wow.
The planes are, I really studied the planes. I really studied the hotels. I feel like I'm doing this as safe as possible. The only difference is a 2-day job with travel turns into a 6-7 day job. Because when I get back, I have to quarantine from my family for a few days at least,
And where do you do that?
Just in my other end of the apartment.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that to make sure. Because now saying you really show stuff in 3 to 5 days, even though they say officially 14, but 3 to 5 days, you really see most 90%,
Mm-hmm.
So
now, Sean, did you have to weigh like the cost of losing work while you quarantine after this shoot?
Well, right now with the way things are going with the things I'm doing, well, no, it's interesting because I'm not making that much more money going and doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just feel for me, it's probably a good idea, It's probably a good idea in the long run, but also being very safe. And I told him I need a few days to talk to my girlfriend who's immunocompromised, talk to a doctor, talk to my virologist, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really say, okay, this is what I got to do to feel okay,
I had a similar situation take place this week, actually, Sean.
What's that?
Where I was called. Do you guys remember the J Muse movie that I was in was written by a friend of mine now, Dominic Burns, who has written another movie that I'm supposed to be starring in that was supposed to shoot early this year in England, which didn't March. So obviously it didn't end up taking place. And he called me this week and said, how would you feel about moving production forward? End of July, early August. We would fly you to England. You would quarantine for 2 weeks. And then we would and everybody has to quarantine for 2 weeks prior who's flown in. And then we shoot for 3 weeks with no contact with anybody else who isn't on set. Right. And I've been thinking about it because for me, it's got to be a no-brainer. I've got to find a way to make it work because if that's what they have to do, that's what they have to do. And we'll see if it takes place. But Sean, I went through all the same things in my head. Like if something happens here and I fly back, but then I can't be helpful, or it's just interesting as these indie productions are moving forward, which they have to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to gauge what you should do and what is being too cautious and what is being safe. And it's just challenging. I'm
it's
finding.
Interesting. Even though I'm not flying internationally, I know we're not quarantining for 2 weeks when I go to Michigan, but I also know that where he is and what, you have to go literally town to town. I know my town and my town's doing really well. And I know his town and I know his town's doing really well. Do you know what I mean? So even just that, knowing where you're going and stuff like that.
Wow.
That makes you feel okay. But if you're going to if someone said New York,
then
that would be a different thing.
Sean, trying to gauge how long do you feel right now? What are you hearing? Are you still thinking end of summer where productions are going to be picking up more regularly?
End of summer, end of August, September, or August, September, even some late July is what I'm hearing.
Well, I don't know if you heard, sorry to interrupt, but did you hear about Tyler Perry?
I did not.
No, what happened with Tyler Perry?
So Sistas and The Oval, which are kind of like the foundational shows of BET right now, both scripted, both filming in Tyler Perry's new, basically, city of sound stages in Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah.
They're going back into production early July, I think right after the 4th, and the whole crew are going to quarantine on the lot. I think there's housing, and then they're hoping to knock out full seasons. I think they're doing 22, which is crazy, in a month.
Wow.
For both shows.
Wow.
Putting it in there, huh?
It's smart though, because you'll be one of the only scripted shows on. It's right now, if you can figure out how to make it work, what a time. That's why I think of you and Sean, Rox. I think of both of you guys taking opportunities to shoot, because not only is it a great chance for you to be on set, but kind of to cut through the noise.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, you have no idea how long this is going to last. And as Harley said wisely, he said, listen, from all his studying he's done, he's trying to get this stuff done before a second wave comes in October, November, December, and that's, it's all guess.
People talking about the second wave. Not ready to hear about it yet. Don't want to hear about the second wave.
But it's an educated guess.
I know.
I understand what he's saying. You know what I mean?
Happy birthday, Sean. Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. So that's the acting. And then my TikToks, I finally sent in my official email to them to see if I can get verified.
I told you got to do that.
Well, there was one, I didn't have the email or whatever, and I was doing the Instagram thing for over and over, and that didn't really work. But then a guy who I know really well gave me the direct kind of thing. And so hopefully that's going to work.
I think so. You've got a huge following there.
Yeah, it would be weird if I didn't, but we'll see. You never know. It's a Wild West out there. But we love to hear from you guys, and on all our social media, and obviously this show. And Roxy, how can they participate?
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. Like you just said, we love hearing from them. And right now, during this time, we especially want to know, what things are you struggling with? Sean and I just talked a little bit about problems that have come our way. But if you write us questions, if you ask us things, we are going to respond to it. So in the comments, whether you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube, write to us. Let us know what you're thinking. If you love an episode, if you want us to talk more about something, then that's a great place to do so. And also thumbs up, 5-star, wherever you are. That really helps the show. It helps other people be able to find us. And I do read, I know we all do, all of the comments. And speaking of which, I did want to give a shout out. I don't know if you know who this is, Sean, but on the episode with your acting teacher, Debbie, there's a comment from David Horowitz. And David Horowitz said, great interview, and the stories are all true. We did have an amazing high school experience, but most importantly, the interview is very insightful. So I like that comment. Was David a high school classmate?
Yes,
that's awesome. That's great. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
So keep those comments going. We'll read them every single week. And again, I'm checking all the different platforms, especially Apple Podcast and YouTube, to see what you guys are commenting.
Well, it's funny. My brother finally stumbled across this show, because I don't sit there and brag to my family about it or push it too much. And he just said, I was so blown away. You, Roxy, Jeff, they're so professional. I had no idea you could do that. And I said, I couldn't. If it wasn't for Roxy and Jeff, I have no idea what I was doing. They mentored me and taught me. And so he just was gushing at our family Zoom thing to my brother, saying how great he thought it was. And that was really humbling and really nice. So I'm glad.
That makes me so happy, Sean.
Yeah.
You are great.
Let's dive in. There's a kind of a biggish list. We'll try to hit it all. First thing you could be doing. So we're going over things you should be doing. So
during quarantine, because this is a show that you might have found after. You're gonna be at different levels. But if you, for some reason, are in your own quarantine in the future or right now during this COVID crisis, these are all different things you can be doing to enhance your career as an actor.
Exactly. So first thing you can be doing is working on some self-tapes. Find a really good good camera. Now, first of all, listen to our episode about self-tapes. Find some good material that you work with. We talked about how to do a self-tape, and then we did my self-tape. There's 2 episodes, and have a goal in mind. I want to show managers and agents that I can be comedic. Let's say you're a very attractive young woman and they think, oh, just CW and dramatic CW, and that's it. But you're funny. So you want to show that you're funnier, or that you've always done comedy and you want to go the other way and show that you do drama, like kind of I did, to kind of break the mold. Figure out what you want to do. You have plenty of time to write something, shoot something. That's what I did. Or you could find really good material that really works. Try not to make them too long, under a couple minutes at most. And try to, find some value. Gary told an amazing story last week about a self-tape that, propelled a young woman to a huge agent and a lot of opportunities. So That's something you absolutely could and should be doing.
Sean, I know that your self-tape specifically went to casting directors because that's the place you are in your career right now where your representation can send that out. But for people who maybe don't have that, should they be self-taping so that they can look at their own material and see how they're doing? Should they be self-taping to put it out on social media to get feedback from their peers? Should they be self-taping and using that to try to find representation, or kind of all
I
the
would
above?
say, honestly, build a arsenal of good material. That's what I would do it for. I'm not a huge fan of putting self-tapes on social media. I might, the one I did, I might do because I might do just a series of showing how I set up a thing and showing what I do it. But I'm not expecting a lot of views from that, But I've had actor friends or students put them out, and then they got people saying like, "Oh, you're not doing anything," and I was like, "Dude, this is not for public consumption. This is you and I in a class working on something, but get it good and just bank it." So as Gary said last week, when you're ready and you feel good and you're ready to do representation, if you don't have tape, you can send that, instead. So it's kind of all of the above except minus social media, I would say. I wouldn't look for that validation there. You could send it to, a small group of people or a private social media account, but I wouldn't, who needs, the guy, Doug told me a story about a girl who did that in some big, long, critical thing. And it was literally a teenager in Wisconsin who wasn't even in the business. So,
Right.
poor girl felt devastated. And it's like, okay, so all of those things, but mainly just bank good stuff that you could say, well, you can't really do comedy. Oh, yes, I can. Let me send you this.
Yeah.
Just to have a nice thing. You can look up representation. Gary talked about it on our episode last week. Coming through IMDb Pro, spend the money, get IMDb Pro, look at agents.
You can pay monthly, which is what I do. So it's really, if you pay monthly, it's totally manageable. I think that it's like $11 a month or something like that, maybe up to 15, but it's definitely manageable.
You can just look at representation. If you're newer, where they are, if you're a little further along, if you want to make a leap or make someone who fits a little more, just start studying them, not necessarily reaching out to them at this time. Gary said that he's still looking, but when I asked him advice a couple of weeks ago, should a student wanted to start looking, he said, this is not the good time. And as Gary is kind of his own person. He would still look right now, but I don't think the majority of people, he said in general, I wouldn't right now, but if you're getting your research done when this is over and people are starting to look, you're ready to hit the ground running.
And Sean, do you think it's better to find a rep that has similar types to you or does not have your type?
It depends. What you would do is bank both. You know what I mean? You don't know unless you have a conversation with them. And so if you see a lot of your types, not types in general, like for me, my first agent had character actors, but not a lot that looked just like me. You know what I mean? So that worked. And then,
and so Sean, would you suggest maybe going to watching TV, finding somebody that you think is like a character actor, and then looking up on IMDb who their rep is, and then putting their information to the side. So when we're out of this crisis moment, you can reach out to them with your materials.
Absolutely. And if it's all like young, models and young model guys, and you're a, over 30 character actor, it probably wouldn't be a fit. But you never know if you say, but you know what, I really like what the people say and the projects they've done. Maybe they are looking to expand. You never know. I wouldn't make that the top tier, but you never know. But also with your gut when you read stuff.
I was just going to say, someone in the kind of young model category, I get it, and
Jeff, your skin is looking flawless right now. I will say.
I think it's the lighting.
Young model.
Sean, what I was going to say is, in terms of just jumping back quickly to self-tapes and real stuff, how do you feel about like trying to shoot a little scene on your lawn? Like pretending you're at like a college party and you're like drunk on the grass or something. I don't know. Like, do you think on an iPhone it makes sense to try to shoot little scenes?
I mean, as opposed to using a backdrop so that it's
Yeah.
unusable and it's a self-tape, just trying to shoot yourself like a monologue somewhere?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you could absolutely do a scene like that, yes, on your lawn, but not glaring bad light, as long as it looks okay, for sure, you could do that. And then, listen, it might emerge into a really nice short film that you can submit digitally to film festivals. You never know. But absolutely, as long as my friend Emilio Alcaraz, who's was my assistant for a while, and now he's off producing a big movie. He shot something, and he did it remotely by having 3 different actors film their own stuff, but he gave them ideas, pieced it together into a nice little PSA. And so that's absolutely a possibility. It just, again, our standards of quality and something that's got a beginning, middle, and end tight. Sure, there's no downside. Plus, you could just post it on YouTube, and then if you get a good response or you really like it and say, "Oh, this opens up a lot of possibilities," then you could have stumbled into your own web series.
Cool.
You never know. So absolutely, I don't think anything's off the table right now. Any proactive creativity is the key. Proactive creativity. Simply, if you're not feeling that energetic and we're all in our pajama, blankets over our heads mode, and that's tough for you right now, watch movies. Go through a list and say, I don't know. I've said it before, 100 top films AFI, right? Great place to start. But I always say, if not, pick a director, pick an actor. I really don't know Daniel Day-Lewis beyond Lincoln. All right, so go back and pick some. Or Meryl Streep, 70s Meryl Streep, 80s Meryl Streep, 90s Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? Like, go through it and find an actor that you really like. I did this with one of my students, and he said Ryan Gosling, and he never saw any of his kind of serious dramatic work. And I said, well, he's got some killer independent work that's really important to see. I mean, you can do anything you want, or just say, I want to study a genre because I feel like I would be really good in a mob movie, then look at a mob movie. Or I really feel like I'd be great at horror, look at really good, successful horror movies, or, types of genre. And you might go, wait a minute, I don't want to be in a slasher type horror movie. I want to be in a creepy type horror movie. Do your research. There's plenty to see. And then obviously that goes right along with not just movies, but television shows as well. High quality television shows. My girlfriend has never seen Sopranos, and I was like, it's been a long time. I could go back and do that again with her.
Are you doing it?
We haven't really. We're going through our list right now.
You got to do it.
Reason we're in. Well, right now we're into interesting documentaries, which is fine. But I just showed her Citizen Ruth, which is Alexander Payne's first movie. One of my, that was my benchmark for him. And Sideways came close, but I still love that movie.
Wow, hot take.
Yeah,
I'm a Nebraska guy, Sean.
Oh, really? We'll
That's
have to discuss that one day. We'll have to discuss it because I liked it, didn't love it.
If you all need a list of great movie references, we did an episode about all the essential references that you need to know to be a good actor on a film set. So go check out that in our catalog. That could be a good guide for you.
Yeah.
Watch stuff.
There were some plays in there to read as well. Yeah.
And that's another thing. Read books, read plays, listen to audiobooks. As you guys all know, I've been devouring, I'm listening to Eric Idle's autobiography right now. I had done John Cleese's earlier. Actors' biographies, even musicians' biographies, get artists, their journey. They're all pretty similar. Guess what? They didn't like going to school. They didn't like high school. They didn't like the grades. They couldn't wait to get out.
Doesn't that make you feel better sometimes, though, to know you're in a class of the greats if you're somebody who, you liked school, but
I loved school, but
you didn't.
I was honestly saying to someone today that I absolutely would have been miserable during quarantine because my whole life was theater and friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been really hard for me too, because a lot of kids are struggling with this, and it's so understandable, you know.
They
So
don't get this time back. It sucks.
yeah, it really sucks. But that is absolutely something you can do. Read and devour, you know, we talked about books and things like that, real life drama and things like that. So definitely books you can read and audio books. Remember, I did an episode on observation. Now, here's an interesting thing. How do you observe when there's not a lot of people around, right? Well, number one, grocery store, right? Walking down the street to go get some food. You know, you can do that. But
it's an interesting time to do that, Sean, because like you're observing how people are I mean, obviously don't stop and stand at a grocery store for hours to observe, but like you're seeing how people interact when they're scared, when somebody drops something at a grocery store. What do people do during this time? What's your natural instinct versus like, how are you actually acting right now? When you can't communicate with your mouth, how are people communicating? So
all about the eyes.
Yeah, it's a crazy time to observe.
Now, one of my student, Lisa, who is doing a great job, she said it was kind of hard for her. So what she did was just do YouTube videos of just people watching videos like at a park, and just normal people walking around a park. And so she just turned off the sound, and her homework has been to do some observations, and she's doing some just from YouTube videos, seeing a couple and them, you know, maybe fighting or something like that. And try to listen to my podcast about observation, but you want to find out how they're interacting with each other. What are they doing? And how do you surmise how they're feeling based specifically on how they're moving, talking, interacting with each other? How does that make you feel? And can you imagine some sort of backstory for them and why they're there, using your imagination? All those things. These are all proactive things you can absolutely do, even though we're not seeing a lot of people out there too. Another thing you can do is up your social media game. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that on TikTok. It's a brand new medium. I'm trying that out, and you know, seeing if it works for me, and seeing if I can get some followers, seeing if I can interact with more fans, reach a new audience.
I think that TikTok is such a great platform during this time because it forces you to be creative, and it also prompts you with different ideas and songs that are trending. But also, I think that Twitter, this is a really good time to get behind, because Twitter is all about how you're feeling, what your thoughts are, quick jokes. And if during this time you can't handle what's happening, which none of us can, I don't know anybody who can handle what's happening right now, it's a great platform to try to joke around, bring some levity, insight, inspiration, things like that there. I will say I find Instagram to be a more challenging platform during this time.
Right. Yes.
A lot of it is like, here I am on my couch.
Yep.
Here I am on a walk, and here I am in bed. But you know, if you can find ways to be creative on Instagram, that's cool too.
Yep.
Totally.
And then lastly, I would say, you know, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, get in shape. You know, is this the time that you said, you know what, I want to gain that weight, I want to lose that weight, I want to change my appearance in this way to really fix my brand? You know, is this the time, like I'm growing a beard right now and I'm going to be doing a goatee, which literally my girlfriend, my daughters can't stand their goatees, but I'm doing it for our web show. And maybe you're thinking, hey, this is the time too, because I can't get a haircut. I've been always thinking, what would I look like if I had a shaved head, you know, and went the route of Bryan Cranston at the end of why am I blanking on the show? You know,
Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
I let you sit too long on that one. Sorry.
But my point is, you know, I literally turned to my girlfriend and said, I think I might shave my head just to see, because I've been thinking about it for a while. She was like, no, you're not. So,
well, you still got to make your loved ones happy. So
exactly.
if you're going to do the goatee, hold off on the hair.
Get in shape, play with your look, try different looks, because no one's going to see you right now. So practice and try to work on your image maybe, and see, hey, if I did gain that extra muscle weight and did that weird mustache or mutton chops or whatever, I wonder what that would look like. This is the time. You have time to do it and look at it. And if you don't like it, then, shave it off. But take care of yourself. And so be ready. So when things do happen, you're ready to jump on board. Just like, I'm going to be doing in Michigan. I have to figure out what it's like to be on a plane again. That's going to be strange for me, especially when you're in your house for so long, to bust out and go do something normal. For me, it was, we were getting our cat's nails trimmed. And when it was the first day, I felt, they've been hating their nails so much. They get stuck on everything. There were their claws. And so got them trimmed. And it was just like, it's starting to feel a little bit normal. So, be ready for when normalcy comes. Get yourself in shape and take care of yourself. So my stories from the set is...
Like we need a drum roll or something.
Yeah, Bold and the Beautiful. Bold and the Beautiful. It was a great story. I went in and read for a quirky lab assistant. The woman on the show, Ashley Jones, who I was doing all my scenes with, I was coming back from a trip, so the audition was on a Monday, and I said, listen, I really can't come in till Tuesday. It was too hard to come back. I was with my kids and far away. And they said, okay, they'll let you come in Tuesday. And she fought for me, Ashley Jones fought for me to be on this show. And because of her and how much she pushed on there, I got to be in the show. And I was a quirky lab assistant. And I had 25 pages of dialogue, and they only had an hour remaining in the day of shooting. And so I thought, well,
25 pages?
Yeah. And I said, okay, but obviously if we go over, he said, we take a dinner break, then we take our dinner break at 5. And I said, so then we come back at 6. If I don't make it, he goes, there's no coming back. And it's kind of like, it's kind of your audition as the recurring role. Either you nail it and you come back more, or you don't, and they will find a way to say a new lab assistant that says, yeah, that guy quit. I mean, soap operas are like, yeah, that guy got that job in Cincinnati, and they, and then they just deal with that. And man, I got to tell you, I was quite nervous. And I had a lot of exposition-y stuff, but I worked on it really, really hard. And it is kind of weird. Sometimes I've been so nervous before a thing, but the calmness comes when I'm in front of the camera doing it, as opposed to the other way around,
Because you're a pro.
And
you're prepped.
Yeah, I guess so. It's doing the work, because the nervousness.
I think you would be more nervous in front of the camera if you weren't ready.
Right. And the nervousness forces you to be more prepped, because you're like, I don't want to screw up. And man, I nailed all that dialogue and was out 20 minutes early. We got done in 40 minutes.
25 pages?
Well, first of all, I will, soap opera things aren't like movie scripts or 1 hour. They are a little bigger. You know what I mean? So maybe
Sean, even if that's a line a page, still.
Yeah. And I had, I had paragraphs and things.
Plus, if you're a lab assistant, was it a lot of like technical jargon?
There's a few technical jargony things, but the other thing is they just don't. It's up to you on a soap opera. And I was saying this the other night in our sketch class. They just need you to get the information out.
Yeah.
If you want to be good, it's up to you. It's up to you to actually be proactive and put in the work, because Are
they a little more lenient with ad-libbing a little bit?
A little bit, as long as you hit the main points. But I'll tell you, if you get close and you go, you know what, that was kind of a warm-up, I'd like to do another one. They're like, nope, moving on. We got what we needed. Literally the story. So I did so well. And the funny part of it, and please don't, people go, oh, that's so sad. This isn't a sad story. To me, I like self-deprecating humor, but I did well. They kept bringing me back. And Ashley was like, oh, I think people are loving our relationship. She goes, you got to go on the group chats and see what people are saying. Well, it's these older women who love the show, and they're like, he's ugly. Could you imagine him taking off his shirt? We want Antonio Sabato Jr. We want a hot guy to take his shirt off. Ew, please don't kiss him and stuff like that. And I went to Ashley and go, why would you tell me to read that? She's like, oh no, I had no idea. And I was just like, but it made me laugh so hard because the people who were criticizing me had literally posted on that thing like 2,500 times in the last 6 months. So,
That's amazing.
you kind of go, all right,
Oh my God, Sean.
But it was funny. And, Ashley was big shout out to her. She was so proactive and pitched storylines, and we pitched storylines for us. And, they went as long as they could, but there's only so long that the women who watch these show want to see the quirky guy. They want to get back to our shirtless hotties. So
love that.
But I did it for, I did 2 years at one time, took a couple of years off, and they brought me back for another couple of years. So
wow.
Really cool. Yeah, it was very
Good
cool.
you, Sean.
Very interesting. So listen, you two have been so amazing in this last year. To celebrate a birthday with you two is a great day. You know how much I admire you. And this just goes to show you it's exciting to realize that you never know who you're going to meet and when, and so I'm not stuck with a small group of friends. That I've expanded my friends in the last couple of years, and obviously you guys are part of that. So.
Happy birthday, Sean. Jeff, hold up your gift for him.
Well, and Sean, I know you know this, but we feel the same way. It's like such, as a producer, you like all the shows you produce, but you love a small number, and like this is always a highlight of my week. And you're just not only a wealth of knowledge and so valuable, but you're just such a great person. And the audience all knows that, but just you should know that as well.
I thank you very much. And one of the greatest gifts I got today was one of my sketch students called me first thing in the morning. And I thought, oh, this is weird. It's not a scheduled day. And he called and he just said, hey man, I just want to thank you because I wouldn't have honed in on my writing, my comedy skills, and put myself on a perfect path if it wasn't for you. And I was like, this is one of the greatest gifts I've ever gotten.
I'm trying to guess who from class.
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
I guess.
I've been working with him for a couple of years, so it was really nice. It was really nice to hear. Very moving. So you just want to be able to walk out. Again, I learned from Sam. You want to have made a good impact on the world, as personally and professionally. And that's all I'm striving for, is to do that. So where can we find you, Roxy?
Everywhere at Roxy Striar.
Mr. Fantabulous.
My Instagram is the best place to go, at Jeffrey Crane Graham.
And you can find me everywhere on every platform at Sean Whalen Actor. And always the same every week. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.